A good and godly and blessed day to all of you. Welcome to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Cignal TV, channels 8, and for high definition television, channels 250. You can also watch us on Facebook.com/One News PH and on YouTube. One News PH. You can also watch us by downloading the Cignal Play app. And we thank you for joining us today on a Wednesday, the 16th of June, 2021. Okay, before we go to a couple of interviews today, let's go take a look at the front page of the Philippine Star and look at the headlines. And there you go. NCR critical cases rising, ICU beds occupied. That's according to the Philippine College of Physicians. And then we have the picture there. ICC prosecutor wants to probe the Philippines' crimes against humanity. President Duterte tells the public, get vaccinated or die. Rodi won't cooperate in ICC drug war probe. And on the bottom half of the front page of the Philippine Star, we have the tally of Philippine cases for COVID-19, and it's up again. It's at 5,300 plus. Manila, among champion cities in Global Mayor's Challenge. According to senators, government funds enough for herd immunity. And Supreme Court awards 1 billion pesos to the Philippines versus Herminio Dicini over the Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. Let's now go to the stories behind the headlines. The Philippine College of Physicians sounded the alarm that severe and critical cases of COVID-19 in the National Capital Region are increasing. Ito po yung mga malalang kaso ng COVID-19 ay tumataas o dumadami. Dr. Maricar Limpin, President of the Philippine College of Physicians, said that intensive care units or ICU beds in the NCR are full, contrary to the pronouncement of the Department of Health. Limpin said that last week, utilization rate for ICU beds was at 80%, and now it's 100% full. So we will try to get more details about that, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what happens when all sorts of numbers, standards, or measurements are altered to suit a particular group's plan or design. Kasi yan po, may kanya-kanyang sistema ng bilangan, ng kanilang reporting. So yung iba sasabihin, hindi, mild lang dito. Anyway, we will go to that. Meanwhile, members of the Senate or the senators say that the government has enough funds to buy vaccines for 117 million Filipinos, and that the earliest it can be done is this year. Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson emphasized that with the funding settled, the government now needs to focus on procuring these vaccines and rolling them out to the public. Maganda pong balita yan para hindi na tayo naglilimos, nang hihingi, umaasa sa BFF ng presidente o ng mga kapitbahay natin sa region. Question is, how do you now determine what are the procurements for 2021 versus the procurements for 2022? Because in 2022, we will still be needing vaccines. And yan po yung mga overlapping budgets na yan, etc., I am sure is going to create another controversy. In other news, Malacanang said that President Rodrigo Duterte will not cooperate with the International Criminal Court or ICC as it seeks to start a probe into the country's drug war. Palas explained that there is no case yet against Duterte and that the government will not cooperate with any preliminary investigation, saying that the Philippines is no longer part of the ICC. This is an interesting situation, ladies and gentlemen, because if no case has been filed and the investigation is yet to be approved by the ICC and yet to be undertaken by a designated investigating team, and the persons of interest, particularly President Duterte and the government, are already protesting to high heavens. Parang tawag dyan, premature, very premature. Any case, we will try to pursue this story not on a political, or sasabihin na naman na iba dyan, pinopolitika natin, hindi po. We will try to pursue this story based on whether is it beneficial for a state to cooperate or not to cooperate, to wait or to preempt. We will look into that in the days to come. Meanwhile, today's quotation comes from the book of James in the Bible, chapter 4, verse 15, which talks about boasting about the future. Yung baga, mga maraming plano, those who have plans, who are saying, this is what we're going to do, this is where we're going to be, where are you going to be in 5 years? Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. Yun po, it's a reminder to all of you there who are, to at least some of you, who are making plans na, oh, we will go here and we will put up a business and we are going to make so much money. Well, if the Lord wills. Kasi meron pong libro sa Bible, there's a book in the Bible where if I'm not a memory guy kind of person, but I remember where this rich businessman said he had such a great harvest. Sabi niya, hindi problema yan. Marami ba tayong ani? Marami ba tayong kinita? Magpagawa pa kayo. Let's build a bigger barn. Let's build a bigger company, etc. And God said, you fool, tonight you will die. And all of that will be for nothing. Anyway, just a reminder to the people making plans kasi lalo na po ngayon yung mga back to work na raw, back to business na. Nako po, COVID-19, it is so unpredictable. Speaking of COVID-19, this is a classic example of hardworking local government officials, of citizens doing their best. And at the beginning, the city of Iloilo was a wonderful example of how to control COVID until this devil's creation of variants, yung Delta. Tama yung sabi nila, hindi na raw dapat tawaging UK variant, dapat tawaging Delta variant. Yun nga, the devil's variant, yung tumama dito sa ating bansa. And now, Iloilo City is one of the cities who have been badly affected. Nandun na yung Davao, nandun na yung Dumaguete, etc. Octa Research says Iloilo City ranks third in terms of most new COVID-19 cases outside Metro Manila from June 7 to June 13. With that, the IATF has also extended the modified enhanced community quarantine classification of the city. Let's go to our regular guest here on agenda, the Honorable Mayor of Iloilo City, Mayor Jerry Treñas. Mayor, good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning, Cito, and good morning to everyone.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to rub it in, but I need to ask, how is the situation now in Iloilo? You ended up third most number of cases. What happened and what's being done about it, Mayor?
1 month ago, I scheduled a meeting together with all the LCEs of Region 6 because we already saw the cases rising. Together with Secretary Galvez, Secretary Duque, Secretary Anyo, and informing them that we saw cases going up from an average of a single digit daily to double digits. No? And we requested for, at that time already, because the hospitals were already overwhelmed, we requested for additional medical personnel for the hospitals. The hospitals were requesting for 125 nurses, 44 nursing aides, 22 utility workers. We were requesting already for payment of PhilHealth to all the hospitals, which as of March amounted already to 860 million. And we were requesting for more vaccines
Mhm.
so that we start vaccinating our population.
Okay.
It's fortunate that maybe the secretaries were attending to other areas, and from single digit to double digit, now we have triple digit average cases every day. All the hospitals are full. All our ventilators are occupied. We lack COVID medicines. The requested nurses, only 50 were hired by DOH because, according to them, they do not have the funds. The city is hiring 23 nurses, 44 nursing aid, and 22 utility workers as requested by the hospitals. Uh, the hospitals and the Iloilo City COVID team meet regularly, and because of the all COVID beds and ICU are already occupied, the hospitals are now using several hotels as quarantine facilities. They have nurses to manage the patients. I think five hospitals are now, five hotels rather, are being used by three hospitals as their quarantine facilities. And then once there are rooms available, then they bring in the patients. No? My vice mayor and his whole family were infected, and I think hopefully they will be discharged today.
Mhm.
I was also in the hospital for a while. I had pneumonia. We are really asking the national IATF to please also listen to Region 6. I called for another meeting with DOH, with Secretary Galvez, with DILG last Monday, together with the LCEs of Region 6. Uh, Only ASEC Roy Ferrer
Mhm.
attended for DOH, and only Carissa Cruz for Secretary Galvez. We are only asking the national IATF to please listen to what is happening here so
Okay.
that
Yeah.
they can also come up with solutions, because the opening statement of ASEC Roy was cases are also rising in Mindanao. So, yes, we appreciate that, but we need your support. Local governments can only do so much. Like Iloilo City, we procured 600,000 doses of AstraZeneca. It will start coming in July with only 15,000 doses. And on August, only 28,000 doses. So that's only 43,000. We also procured Covovax. It will start coming in the last quarter of this year. And this morning at about 10, I have a meeting because we are going to appropriate funds for Covaxin so that what we are trying to do now, Chito, is really just to procure from different companies. So whatever comes first, we will be able to inoculate.
Okay,
I
what
felt
about
so bad. I felt
yeah?
so bad that last week we no longer had vaccines, and I requested for additional vaccines. They told me they were going to give me 1,002 doses of Sinovac. So what are we going to do with 1,002 doses? Here in Iloilo, I think we have not yet reached a stage where there will be no longer people who want to be inoculated. No? The people want to be vaccinated. Unfortunately, there is no vaccine available.
Okay, what about other options like well, I don't know if I remember correctly, but I think you were not in favor of lockdowns. It seems that in Metro Manila, that is considered the most effective solution to enforce lockdown of different categories. What about Iloilo? Given that there are not enough vaccines, not enough medical facilities, not enough health workers, and the national government is already overwhelmed by so many outbreaks all over the Visayas and Mindanao. What about lockdowns or total lockdowns there in Iloilo, Mayor?
You know, we tried lockdown on non-essential businesses for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And during that 3 weeks, the city procured rice, noodles, canned goods, and gave out to the barangays. Unfortunately, people are complaining, they are hungry. The city can only give so much. For the 3 weeks that we were on lockdown, DSWD supported us with 3,000 packs of uh, food stuff. No? I do not know. Maybe they are also overwhelmed, but I have a population of 500,000, assuming that 70,000 need food assistance. That is 350,000 people. So a lockdown cannot be sustainable. It can only be sustainable if you continue to give assistance, either financial assistance, like what happened in Metro Manila, that the national government gave out 1,000 per person, or food assistance. And in both cases, it is not sustainable. So starting today, we are opening up all the non-essential businesses except those specifically provided by the IATF in the omnibus guidelines that will not be allowed to open, like spas, massage clinics, gyms,
Mm.
and the like.
Okay.
Uh,
You have what is the population of Iloilo City, Mayor? Because you mentioned you have triple digit cases, but then how many percent? Because I also want to be fair to Iloilo. I'm just responding to the data we're reading. Based on the data, you're top three, but are you top three of a small number of COVID cases, or is it really a disaster in Iloilo? Three digits compared to how many in population?
We have a population of 500,000 uh, who are really residing in Iloilo, a voting population of about 350,000. We have a floating population of 100 to 200,000. These are people who are working in Iloilo in the different businesses but are not residing in Iloilo. So let us say that we have a total population of total of about 600 to 700,000.
So where are the infections coming from, Mayor? Are they from transient? Are they because of people not observing health protocols, or is there a chink in the armor, as they say?
Actually, Chito, at this point in time, we do not really know where that's coming from. No?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we can only show you the map of those who are infected by COVID every day, the infection is all over the place. Similar to what happened to Manila, you cannot really pinpoint where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
We allowed everyone to come in. People from Manila, people from all the other provinces. Antique had surge last month. Bacolod and Negros are also experiencing a surge. The province of Iloilo is also experiencing a surge. Capiz is also experiencing a surge. I think Aklan, the cases are also going up.
Mm-hmm.
So, people come and go.
It's no longer the population and the local executives. It's really about these variants and how infectious the virus is. Now,
I would agree, Chito, no? Because last year,
mhm,
I remember we were talking, there was a surge, but the surge was only one per family or two per family. Now it's the whole household. Everyone in the household is affected. I do not know what's happening. The DOH is saying there is no variant here. After examining all the specimen being sent to them, but I tell you, if there is no variant, the virus has already evolved and it has become very infectious and virulent. We experience about 5 deaths every 3 days. And most of this is because of lack of medical care because our hospitals are overwhelmed. The Western Visayas College of Physicians came out with the manifesto yesterday calling for the same things, no more personnel in the hospitals, more COVID meds, more equipment, ventilators, and high flow oxygen cannula, and uh, PhilHealth to pay the hospitals, and finally, more vaccines. Because as what you have done in the NCR, you lowered cases by vaccination. The US, they have only vaccinated 50%, but they have started to feel herd immunity. Europe, they also use vaccination, but unfortunately, we have the funds for the vaccines. I do not know why the national government is not procuring these vaccines to give out to everyone. Iloilo City has procured 600,000 Astras, 70,000 Covovax, and today 50,000 Covaxin. But unfortunately, Chito, They're not going to be delivered soon. So,
How many Ilonggos, or I mean people of Iloilo, have been vaccinated, Mayor?
so far for first dose, only 40,000. And out of these 40,000, 8,000 were given their second doses.
Okay, so it's a very small population. Now, you are going to be facing, as you mentioned, you are going to open the non essentials today, allow the non essential businesses to open. And that always comes with a curse, the curse of more cases. How bad is the economy or the business situation? Is it a desperate situation that you are forced to open businesses? Or what happens if COVID cases go up again?
Well, I think the situation is desperate. As a local chief executive, I received text messages coming from people I do not know because their numbers are not registered, uh, requesting for assistance, requesting that they be allowed to work because they have already used up their savings uh, and the like. No? And if you are a local chief executive, and you receive these messages almost every day, and even at night when you go to sleep, you are at a dilemma, a quandary. What are you going to do? There are no vaccines coming in. Hospitals are full, and yet people are hungry because they have no income. They cannot buy food for their families.
What
So,
about what about revenues, Mayor? Because last night I was just thinking about taxation in the Philippines, and I realized that the hit of COVID-19 really only happened March 2020. We are now in June 2021, and it will only be this year that we will be realizing that a lot of people don't have income tax to pay. A lot of businesses won't have income tax to pay. What is the impact of these closures, etc., on the city of Iloilo in terms of revenues?
well, insofar as revenues are concerned, Chito, Iloilo City is one of the very few cities all over the Philippines that is not era dependent.
Mm,
Meaning to say, I think 64 or 66% of our income come from local taxes. And local taxes come in the form of real property taxes, business taxes. I am looking at a very difficult year because last year several businesses have closed and will not be paying taxes, business taxes this year.
okay.
So we just have to make sure that we will have enough up to the end of the year.
Okay, Mayor Jerry, if you would allow me, let's go for a quick break, and I want to follow up on that problem that's confronting you in terms of revenues. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Cignal TV channels 8 and 250. Just a point of clarification as far as the COVID virus variants are concerned, the UK variant is categorized as alpha. The South African variant is categorized as beta. The Brazil variant is categorized as gamma, and Indian variant is categorized as delta. Okay, so thank you, Team Agenda and Gab. And let's go back to Mayor Jerry Treñas of the City of Iloilo. Mayor, welcome back. And allow me to ask a rather difficult question. I hope the answer is no. But given the limited revenues coming in because of business closures, low income, low consumer movement, etc., and other revenues of the city of Iloilo, do you see the city borrowing money as early as 2022 just to borrow against future income just to keep the services running?
Uh, we have never done that even before.
Mm.
And I do not intend to do that. What we will do if that will happen, we will have to slow down on some of the activities of the city, stop some projects so that we will use this to keep the city going. Uh, I also look forward to what's this next year because it is scheduled that next year the Mandana's ruling will now be put into operation. We are supposed to get more in the national internal revenue, the ERA for
Yeah.
the local chief, local government units.
Mhm.
Uh, Hopefully by next year, even if our local income will go down, the increase in ERA brought about by the Mandana's ruling will allow us to continue to operate uh, without having to borrow funds.
Okay. What about local elections and campaigns? Because I know that in other provinces, in other cities and towns, I don't know about Iloilo, about Bacolod, etc., Negros, no. But in other areas, the local officials, the members of Congress, mayor, they kind of just make a settlement or a compromise. Guys, let's not go into an expensive campaign. Let's not go into a bloody election, etc. Can we just come at a compromise on who will run unchallenged for mayor, barangay captain, congressman? Is that being discussed by local chief executives in region 6? You're in region 6, right?
I'm in Region 6.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's not yet being discussed. Uh, the moment, I'm so busy with COVID. Uh, Politics is going to happen. It will happen soon. We also have to take care that our political party will survive these elections. But no one has approached us to talk about these things. Uh, Hopefully, it will not be a difficult political process. But we all know that we live in a democracy, everyone can run, and we just have to face this uh, head on. No?
Okay, well, thank you, Mayor Jerry, because I'm just checking because some people have been making that suggestion na para wala nang gulo, maghatian na lang. In any case, I don't think that's how you do it in Iloilo City. So thank you very much for your time this morning, Mayor. And
There was there was never an election that I did not have an opponent.
well,
There
good.
there were difficult opponents, there were easy opponents, but always an opponent because that's how democracy lives in Iloilo.
Okay, well, good to know that. And thank you very much for your time. We pray and wish better times for the people of Iloilo. And I really, really hope to be back there and sample the great food and look at the sights. Thank you, Mayor Jerry.
Thank you, Chito, anytime. And know that Iloilo City is always there to welcome you. Uh, Mi casa is su casa.
Gracias, gracias. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, that's Mayor Jerry Treñas of the city of Iloilo. At least triple digit, not good in terms of having COVID cases, but at least it's not in the thousands as we had it here, and we still have it here in Metro Manila in the NCR. Now, let's move to our next guest. He is a brother in the Lord. He is a brother on the street, and he is probably one of the hardest working, dedicated public servants in the MMDA. Let's now go to Colonel Bong Nebrija, the MMDA Edsa Traffic Manager. Colonel Bong, are you there?
Good morning, Cito. It's been a long time. Nice to see you again.
Okay, well, same here, Colonel Bong. And apparently, the traffic in EDSA, hindi ako makarelate kasi walang traffic dito sa aking kinalalagyan sa Lipa. But apparently, the traffic on EDSA has been getting a lot of attention. And also yung mga long lines sa mga MRT, etc. What's happening? Because people are kind of shocked and puzzled. Parang, di ba merong quarantine? Di ba may mga limited na limitations on movement? Bakit nagkakaganyan?
Well, that's right, Cito. No? Well, when we transition to GCQ, there are many businesses that really opened up. So this means additional employees in the workplace and also customers. No, so that's the reason for the buildup of people on the roads again. So and well, the traffic that we've been seeing is again brought about by the quarantine status that we have right now, since many businesses have already opened up. Many people are on the road, and the volume count, the latest volume count that we had is almost 90% of the time that we left off in 2019. We have now around 380,000. We left off December of 2019 at 405,882. So as you could see, that's already 90% of the pre-pandemic volume. And yes, the traffic, the congestion that we're seeing is brought about by little factors that we really did not consider before. For example, I was explaining this to the OTR because they're asking me on what's happening on the ground. Why are the long lines? I said, as you could see, the traffic and the commuting people or the commuting public are going out of the offices after 5 o'clock after their work. No more weekend or barkada nights. No more dining out. No more party in the evening after work. We have totally reduced that to maybe less or zero at this time.
Yeah.
So now when we get out of work, we do not divide the people anymore in their commute back home. Everybody goes home at the same time. So that's why when it comes to rush hour, people are rushing in on EDSA, both private vehicles and the busway. So they were saying that the long lines is there. Why is it so? Because the reason behind is that we're going out all at the same time already because of the
Mhm.
well, we do not extend our hours anymore. After work, we go home.
I remember, Colonel Nebrija, that you or the MMDA, I really don't know which group officially implemented it, but I think it's the MMDA, that no more trucks, no more light trucks, etc. Hindi ba nakatulong? Did that not ease up, or gumawa na naman ng ibang paraan itong mga negosyo? Because I remember when you strictly implemented the truck ban, especially basing it on the number of wheels, what many businesses did was that they just bought smaller delivery trucks or vans, used commuter vans for delivery. So parang sabi nga ng iba, imbis na kumonte, they multiplied like gremlins.
Uh, well, that's true also, Cito. Remember, we started with the policy as part of our volume reduction mitigation policy on EDSA is the
Mm.
track ban. So we implemented a total track ban on EDSA. It's not a new policy. It has been there
Yeah.
before. We lifted this during the pandemic, ECQ quarantine status. Then when we transitioned, we re-implemented this so that we will be removing additional volume on EDSA. Aside
Mm.
from the track ban, we also re-implemented the light track ban. So that's right. Even though that we have been implementing this for the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks already, we still see light trucks on the road. We are still apprehending. We started on the first day of its implementation. We were able to apprehend around 120 to 100 light trucks.
Mm.
But until
Okay.
now,
Yeah.
we are still apprehending, though less, but there's still some who are trying their luck to use EDSA as a as a faster means of traversing Metro Manila.
Yeah, but what has been the effect of the Skyway all the way to Bulacan? Many people have been saying, even the DOTR was saying, this will greatly reduce the traffic. Ayaw bang gumastos ng mga kumpanya para sa toll fee? Is there a hesitation? Or is it being used or not used?
Well, Sito, one of the factors is that even though it's open, not all entryway and exit ways are open.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also one of the reasons. Maybe those who are not patronizing it yet are the ones who will want to exit in some places that the exits are not still open up to this
Mm-hmm.
time. So that's one thing. Yes, it's true. The projection is that it will greatly reduce the volume on EDSA. Our estimate is around 20 to 30% of the volume
Yeah.
will be reduced. However, again, these are, these opened in partially open in January 15. Until now, people are still, getting the feel of it. Others are thinking that's already they already need to pay. That's why they stop applying the route. But
Mm-hmm.
then again, I think one of the reasons why others are still not using it is the availability of the exits and entryways that are available to the motorists. Once it's fully open, I think we will see increased vehicles that will be using the Skyway 3 as an alternative route. Another
Mm-hmm.
sito is the Kalayaan Bridge that traverses Pasig
Yeah.
to Taguig. We remember that the 10 cities of Metro Manila are divided with the 6 cities and one municipality in the south by the Pasig River.
Mm.
And we have two major business districts in the south, which is the Makati Business District and the Taguig Business District. So again, but we are limited to one bridge, which is the Guadalupe Bridge.
Mm.
Imagine the volume, the workforce that goes through to these business districts, and yet they're only using one bridge. With the opening of the Kalayaan Bridge, that will be an alternate route towards Taguig. And when the Pantaleon Kalayaan Bridge will be open and ready for, will be open to motorists, that will also be an alternate route for those people going to Makati. So, I mean,
when will that bridge be open? That's the one in Rockwell, right?
yes, that's right, Tito. Well,
Kasi
the
yung
estimate will
ano,
be this year.
yung sa BGC Capitolio is opened already. Parang it just kind of makes me wonder the BGC Capitolio bridge is a new bridge and the Rockwell Pantaleon Kalayaan Bridge is just a renovation but parang mas matagal pang gawin yung Pantaleon Bridge na yan.
Actually, Skito, this is a new bridge, the Pantaleon Kalayaan. Remember,
Mhm.
the old bridge was taken down and shipped outside Metro Manila. I think it was shipped to Dagupan, if I'm not mistaken, the old bridge. So they're
Okay.
constructing a new one. However, compared to the Kalayaan Bridge in Pasig Taguig, this Pantaleon Kalayaan Bridge is modular. It's a different design, and I think most of the components, the parts that will make up the bridge are coming from China. So it's
Mm.
not. I do not know if it's manufactured here, but it's being constructed module by module, and it will be put up all together. I just don't know when. But the target date is end of this year.
End of this year. So
Yeah.
apparently that's one of the reasons. I mean, it's good to talk to you, Colonel Bong, because at least naliwanagan. Ano? Most of us don't really think or realize that because there's no more Sabado nights, no more, beer cadas, etc., or shopping in the mall after work, everybody gets in their car and goes home to avoid the curfew. But what about the adjustment of the curfew? Do you think that with the adjustment of the curfew that gives people the chance to have dinners in the malls, will that somehow relieve our traffic or baka makadagdag pa kasi maraming mga katropa ko senior citizen bumabawi eh. Galit sa bahay, ayaw umuwi.
That's true, Sito. Well, I guess that will also be a factor that we need to consider, especially that I think it will be effective today. That
Mhm.
the curfew will be adjusted to 12 midnight up to 4 a.m. And with this, we will see that there will be adjustments in the mall hours, maybe in the workplaces as well. This will somehow help in what we are experiencing today because the workplaces might introduce a flexible time to commuters, and that will divide the workforce in during rush hour. Likewise, the malls will open up later, will open until later of the evening, and that will also give chances to people who are working to go there to let the traffic pass. No,
Mm.
so all of this might help, but then again, like what I was saying to the OTR, let us not just focus on managing the traffic alone because there are so many factors that affects it. One is the accidents. No, there are so many accidents that's happening on the ground, whether vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to barrier, or even sometimes pedestrian related accidents. Stalled vehicles is also one to consider, and of course, the drivers' misbehaviors. We are apprehending an average of 120 to 130 a day. That
Mhm.
try to consider that there's no number coding yet, which is the highest apprehension that we had pre-pandemic, aside from disregarding traffic sign. So I mean, all of these factors, if you put them all together, will really create congestion. And of course, we are highly urbanized Metro Manila. There are so many vehicles. We have limited roads, and that's why we all need to consider this. This is not just the fault of the government for lack of anticipation or lack of policy. Everything is there. We just need everybody's cooperation to implement this well, nicely, properly, and we are just to let you know, we are still continuing to find ways
Okay.
to resolve all these
Let-
crisis
Let's go
problems.
let's go for a quick break, Colonel Bong. And when we return, I want to ask the $64 question. Ano ba ang plano for the number coding scheme? We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Cignal TV channels 8 and 250, and also on facebook.com/OneNewsPH. We have with us Colonel Bong Nebrija, the MMDA Edsa Traffic Manager. Colonel Bong, what's the plan as far as number coding is concerned? Because I'm just kind of wondering about that. Everything seems to be normal, so why not bring back the number coding?
Well, actually, Sito, the reason we're holding it from re-implementing it again is the fact that we haven't normalized the transportation yet. And there are many of our frontliners, the health workers, are using their private vehicles to go to work. And we do not want to be overwhelmed by so many requests for exemptions. That's why we are finding ways to well, not really replace, but the thing is we are trying to find out and to give incentives to the health workers on how are we going to do this if we are going to implement this again.
Well,
So
Colonel Bong, with the health workers, I mean, you know this. I never asked you for an exemption. Maybe once in a lifetime I asked because we needed to bring a vehicle from one point to another. But I've never used the media card to get an exemption. And I think a lot of people in media don't use that. But what about the exemption strictly for healthcare workers? Kasi yung mga frontliners, lahat, pati yung houseboy ko na namimili lagi sa hardware, frontliner eh. So parang the sentiment is, yung talagang exempted, yun lang ang dapat bigyan ng exemption.
that's right, Sito. But everybody feels they are frontliners now. Even the economic frontliners. There are so many frontliners, health frontliners, economic frontliners, even the traffic enforcers are considered frontliners. So there will be a lot, and that's why we are still looking into this if it's really the right time to re-implement the number coding. But then again, we are also trying to find alternative policies in lieu of this. Car restriction policy. No? So I mean, we will recommend to MMC maybe alternative solutions on how are we going to reduce the volume on
What about
Edsa.
Yeah, what about classifying? Kasi Colonel Bong, and I know you have a very open mind regarding ideas. I'm actually pursuing with Team Agenda. We're actually pursuing the topic na, if companies can operate based on work from home function at least 2 to 3 times a week, then they should be required or given incentive to do so. Kasi may mga bata, they're young employees, young workers who have expressed that to me. They've said, Kuyang, Tito, hindi namin alam ba't pinapa-report pa kami sa company. Nagagawa naman namin yung trabaho namin sa bahay. Parang they're just so stuck on an old way of doing things that they want us to be physically present when we have been doing the job for the last year working from home. Parang yung bang verifying who needs employees in an office and who should be incentivized to allow their employees to work from home.
That's right, Cito. That's really a good suggestion. I mean, maybe other companies are already implementing that. That's also one of the reasons. That's why we only see traffic congestion on certain days. That's why we see traffic build up during rush hour on Mondays and Fridays, but nothing in between. So the way I assess it is that others are really implementing a staggered form of work from home and work in the office scheme. So it's not the whole week. Well, that's only my personal observation, being the person on the ground.
Yeah.
But I think we really need to find out who are implementing this and what its effect on traffic congestion, because really all of these plans, all of these policies needs to be supported by numbers, and we really need to get out and get the survey on the road.
Well, that's a good idea. Get a real survey. Hindi yung survey of popularity, kung sino dapat magpresidente, sino mag-vice president. Let's do a survey on why people congest on EDSA every Monday and Friday. And when you do it, sana naman mauna kami sa mga makakaalam, Colonel Bong.
That's right, Chito. We'll try to do that, and we have good planning officers in our agency and who could easily do that.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Colonel Bong Nebrija. Thank you for your time. And as always, God bless you, and hope to see you around in a more relaxed environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Cito. Stay safe and God bless.
Okay, you too, sir. And at this point, let's bring in our netizen report for the week.
As the unemployment rate rose to 8.7% last April, we ask you, how do you think the government can address this labor problem? Erwin Gabutan Vea Bangalan says that the government must give an alternative livelihood and ayuda while waiting for the reopening of the economy. Nelson Uy suggests that maybe they can find work from home gigs or other opportunities like working as a food delivery rider. The Interagency Task Force, or the IATF, has given a go signal to the reopening of fitness centers and gyms, while also allowing some indoor activities. We also ask your 2 cents about this matter. Happy Joy Rivera agrees with the reopening of gyms as long as they follow safety protocols. But May Jeray Manzano is on the other side of the fence. She says, quote, "Wag muna kasi magkakalat lang ang virus." Knowing the nature na indoor at dikit-dikit ang mga tao. We also ask you if the government should lift the deployment ban on health workers. Harvey Gamulo Cabuyadao believes that it would be a good move to lift the ban, as it can also help boost the economy and help the families of health workers. But Harvey also said that the government should consider health workers to choose to serve the country, as he pushes to increase their salaries. KJ Adolfo Paternoga says that other countries are now easing restrictions to boost their economies. So he thinks that the Philippine government should also lift the ban on health workers.
That's the Netizen Report, and that's today's agenda. Keep it here on Cignal TV channels 8 and 250 for the latest news. I'm Cito Beltran. We are One News. God bless all of you.